Welcome to my channel, Valuable Coins All World. If you've ever wondered if those old coins you have lying around could be worth a fortune, you're in the right place. In today's video, we're diving into some of the rarest US coins, revealing their jaw-dropping values that will leave you amazed. Stick with us till the end. You won't want to miss what these hidden treasures could be worth. Let's get started. Top 1. Let me take you on a journey. A journey not only through the history of one of America's most beloved coins, but also into the story of a country at a crossroads, its identity being forged through conflict, innovation, and legacy. This is not just about copper. This is about history pressed into metal. It's about the penny that carries a president's face, a nation's ideals, and in some rare cases, a value far exceeding its modest appearance. This is the story of the 1917 Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny. Picture the United States in 1917. The world was at war. World War I had reached its apex, and although the U.S. had stayed neutral for the first few years, the tide was turning. In April of that year, the United States officially entered the war. It was a time of great uncertainty. Families were sending their sons overseas. Industries were shifting focus toward military production. Newspapers told of battles in Europe, and a sense of patriotism and duty echoed through city streets and country roads alike. And amid this turbulent backdrop, something seemingly simple was being made in vast quantities at mints across the nation. The Lincoln cent now. Imagine holding a coin from that very year in your hand today. Smooth from the passage of time, but unmistakably etched with history. On its obverse, the strong, stoic profile of Abraham Lincoln gazes to the right, an emblem of integrity, unity, and sacrifice. On the reverse, two humble stalks of wheat flank the words 1 cent, anchoring this small artifact to the land and labor that built America. The Lincoln cent had only been around for less than a decade at that point. Introduced in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was revolutionary. Never before had a real person's portrait been placed on a circulating U.S. coin. The decision had its critics at the time, but public opinion swiftly warmed to it, and the coin gained iconic status. By 1917, it was more than just currency. It was a symbol. Now, the 1917 Lincoln penny wasn't rare in terms of production volume. The Philadelphia Mint alone produced over 196 million of them. But as with so many things, the devil, or should we say, the treasure, is in the details. Variants, errors, mint marks, these are the keys that unlock value in the world of numismatics. SOY. Out of all these millions, are some 1917 wheat pennies today worth thousands, tens of thousands, and even hundreds of thousands of dollars? To answer that, we have to delve deeper into the intricacies of minting. Coins may appear simple, but their production involves layers of process. Dies must be prepared, blanks punched, striking pressure set just right. And in the era before fully automated digital controls, errors were more likely. Sometimes, these errors became blessings in disguise, accidental masterpieces sought after by collectors generations later. One such phenomenon is the double die obverse error. It's a mistake, technically, a doubling of the image caused by a misalignment during the die creation process. But it results in a striking effect, literally. The lettering and date on the coin appear shadowed or duplicated, and for collectors, this is gold. Or in this case, copper. A 1917 Lincoln penny with a strong double die obverse is incredibly rare. Fewer still exist in top condition, what collectors refer to as mint state, with minimal wear and bright luster. When one of these rare coins appeared at auction in recent years, graded at the highest levels by professional numismatists, it stunned the collecting world. The final hammer price? A jaw-dropping $377,000. And just think, this was once a coin meant to buy a stick of gum or a few nails. That's the power of history and rarity combined. But this coin's allure doesn't end with errors. The location where it was minted also plays a significant role in its desirability. While Philadelphia churned out nearly 200 million coins that year, the Denver and San Francisco mints produced significantly fewer. The 1917 D and 1917 S pennies, identifiable by their small mint marks, are far rarer in high grades. Even in average circulated condition, they command higher values. In pristine condition, their worth can climb steeply. And then there's the condition itself, a critical factor in coin collecting. A penny that has been jingling in pockets, bouncing in drawers, and sleeping in coffee cans for 100 years might look like any other old coin. But a penny that was tucked away, untouched, preserved in all its original brilliance, is an artifact. Such coins are graded on a scale, with MS standing for mint state. The difference between MS 60 and MS 67, though it may seem slight to the untrained eye, could mean thousands of dollars in market value. The story of the 1917 Lincoln penny isn't just about numbers and grades, though. It's about the people. The collector who found one in a box of old belongings. The young enthusiast who spotted an odd doubling on a coin and chased down the story. The seasoned numismatist who has searched for decades, hoping to add the perfect specimen to their collection. And let's not forget the historical context. The war, the politics, the cultural landscape. Lincoln's image on the coin served as a reminder of unity during a time when the nation once again found itself sending young men into battle. His legacy, his words, and his sacrifice gave people something to hold on to, literally. When someone dropped a penny into a wishing well or a collection plate in 1917, they weren't just parting with currency. They were participating in a shared national story. Even today, that resonance continues. Holding a 1917 Lincoln penny transports you back in time. It's tangible. You can imagine the hands it passed through, a soldier buying a soda before boarding a train, a shopkeeper making change on a snowy street, a mother slipping it into her child's piggy bank. Each coin, a witness to a moment that's why collectors care. That's why values soar. The worth isn't just in metal, it's in meaning. Let me take a moment now to imagine that you, the viewer, stumble upon a dusty old penny. You squint and see the date, 1917. Could it be the one? You check the details. Is there a D or S below the date? Does the lettering seem doubled? Is the coin well preserved, its details crisp and unblemished? The thrill of the hunt is part of what makes numismatics so fascinating. It's a hobby that mixes science and storytelling, art and history, economy and curiosity. And in rare cases, it can change someone's life. As we journey deeper into the specifics of the 1917 Lincoln penny. How to identify key varieties, what to look for under magnification, how grading works, and how auctions operate. We'll explore not just the coin itself, but the vibrant, passionate community that surrounds it. Because this isn't just a coin. It's a legend. Top 2. It begins with a simple, unassuming coin, a penny. Not gold, not silver, just copper. Yet, within its modest exterior lies a story of history, craftsmanship, and rarity that has captivated collectors for decades. The year is 1941. The world stands on the precipice of monumental change. The United States, still reeling from the effects of the Great Depression, is about to be thrust into the global conflict of World War II. Amidst this turbulent backdrop, the U.S. Mint continues its production of the Lincoln wheat cent, a coin that has been in circulation since 1909. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the wheat cent features a portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse, symbolizing the nation's agricultural roots. In 1941. The Mint produced over 1 billion of these coins across 3 facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint struck 887,018,000 coins. The Denver Mint produced 128,700,000, and the San Francisco Mint minted 92,360,000. These figures indicate a high volume of production, suggesting that most 1941 Lincoln wheat pennies are relatively common and not particularly valuable. However, as with many things in the world of numismatics, rarity is often a matter of condition. While the majority of these coins are found in circulated states, a small percentage have been preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition. These well-preserved coins are highly sought after by collectors, as they offer a glimpse into the past with remarkable clarity and detail. The value of a 1941 Lincoln wheat penny can vary significantly based on its condition and any unique characteristics it may possess. In average circulated condition, these coins are worth only a few cents. However, in uncirculated grades, their value can increase substantially. For instance, a 1941 Lincoln wheat penny in MS 67 red grade can be worth around $250,000, reflecting the premium placed on coins that have been preserved in excellent condition, free from wear and damage. Beyond condition, certain minting errors can also enhance the value of a 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny. Errors such as double dies, repunched mint marks, and off-center strikes are particularly prized by collectors. These anomalies occur during the minting process and result in coins that deviate from the standard design, making them unique and highly collectible. For example, a 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny exhibiting a double die obverse, where the date and inscriptions are doubled due to a misalignment of the dies, can command a premium price. Similarly, a 1941 with a repunched mint mark, where the mint mark appears multiple times due to improper die alignment, is considered an error coin and is more valuable than a standard 1941 penny. The allure of the 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny lies not only in its design and production but also in the stories it tells. Each coin is a tangible connection to a specific moment in history, reflecting the economic conditions, technological advancements, and cultural shifts of its time. Collectors and enthusiasts often seek out these coins not just for their monetary value, but for the historical narrative they encapsulate. Holding a 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny is like holding a piece of the past, a reminder of the nation's journey through the early 20th century. As we delve deeper into the world of coin collecting, it's important to remember that the value of a coin is not solely determined by its rarity or condition. The story behind the coin, its place in history, and the passion of the collector all contribute to its worth. In the case of the 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny, its value is a testament to the enduring appeal of numismatics and the fascination with the artifacts of our past. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a casual observer, this coin offers a window into a bygone era and a tangible connection to the history of the United States. So, the next time you come across a 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny, take a moment to appreciate its significance. It may be more than just a piece of copper. It could be a valuable artifact from a pivotal time in American history. Top 3. It begins with a simple, unassuming coin, a penny. Not gold, not silver, just copper. Yet, within its modest exterior lies a story of history, craftsmanship, and rarity that has captivated collectors for decades. The year is 1944. The world is recovering from the turmoil of the Second World War, and America is experiencing a period of prosperity and growth. Amidst this backdrop, the U.S. Mint continues its production of the Lincoln Wheat cent, a coin that has been in circulation since 1909. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the wheat cent features a portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse, symbolizing the nation's agricultural roots. In 1944, the Mint produced over 2.1 billion of these coins across 3 facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint struck 1,435,400,000 coins. The Denver Mint produced 430,578,000. And the San Francisco Mint minted 282,760,000. These figures indicate a high volume of production, suggesting that most 1944 Lincoln Wheat pennies are relatively common and not particularly valuable. However, as with many things in the world of numismatics, rarity is often a matter of condition. While the majority of these coins are found in circulated states, a small percentage have been preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition. These well-preserved coins are highly sought after by collectors, as they offer a glimpse into the past with remarkable clarity and detail. The value of a 1944 Lincoln Wheat penny can vary significantly based on its condition and any unique characteristics it may possess. In average circulated condition, these coins are worth only a few cents. However, in uncirculated grades, their value can increase substantially. For instance, a 1944 Lincoln Wheat penny in MS 67 red grade can be worth around $230,000, reflecting the premium placed on coins that have been preserved in excellent condition, free from wear and damage. Beyond condition, certain minting errors can also enhance the value of a 1944 Lincoln Wheat penny. Errors such as double dies, repunched mint marks, and off-center strikes are particularly prized by collectors. These anomalies occur during the minting process and result in coins that deviate from the standard design, making them unique and highly collectible. For example, a 1944 Lincoln Wheat penny exhibiting a double die obverse, where the date and inscriptions are doubled due to a misalignment of the dies, can command a premium price. Similarly, a 1944 with a repunched mint mark, where the mint mark appears multiple times due to improper die alignment, is considered an error coin and is more valuable than a standard 1944 penny. The allure of the 1944 Lincoln Wheat penny lies not only in its design and production but also in the stories it tells. Each coin is a tangible connection to a specific moment in history, reflecting the economic conditions, technological advancements, and cultural shifts of its time. Collectors and enthusiasts often seek out these coins not just for their monetary value, but for the historical narrative they encapsulate. Holding a 1944 Lincoln Wheat penny is like holding a piece of the past, a reminder of the nation's journey through the early 20th century. As we delve deeper into the world of coin collecting, it's important to remember that the value of a coin is not solely determined by its rarity or condition. The story behind the coin, its place in history, and the passion of the collector all contribute to its worth. In the case of the 1944 Lincoln Wheat penny, its value is a testament to the enduring appeal of numismatics and the fascination with the artifacts of our past. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a casual observer, this coin offers a window into a bygone era and a tangible connection to the history of the United States. The next time you come across a 1944 Lincoln Wheat penny, take a moment to appreciate its significance. It may be more than just a piece of copper. It could be a valuable artifact from a pivotal time in American history. Top 4. It starts as a whisper in your hand, a small, copper-colored coin that most people don't think twice about. A penny. A piece of loose change, dropped into jars, forgotten in coat pockets, lost between couch cushions. But what if I told you that one of those tiny copper coins, specifically one dated 1945, could be worth $320,000 today? That a single penny, no bigger than your thumbnail, could hold the story of a world at war, a nation rebuilding, and a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. This isn't just about collecting coins. This is about uncovering history that you can touch, hold, and maybe, if you're lucky, cash in for a small fortune. Welcome to the fascinating story of the 1945 Lincoln Wheat penny. Let's take a step back in time. The year was 1945. The world was at the end of its most devastating conflict, World War II. Europe lay in ruins, and the United States, though victorious, bore the scars of war. Soldiers were returning home. Families were reuniting after years of separation. The country was on the brink of a new era, full of both hope and uncertainty. Amid this colossal moment in history, the United States Mint was quietly producing one of its most iconic and widely circulated coins, the Lincoln Wheat penny. At first glance, the 1945 Lincoln cent may seem ordinary. But like many things in life, its true value lies beneath the surface. Minted in the final year of the war, the 1945 penny is more than just a coin. It's a time capsule, a symbol of resilience, and for a lucky few collectors, it can be a jackpot. The 1945 penny features the classic Lincoln design created by Victor David Brenner, which first appeared in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. On the obverse side, Lincoln's profile faces right, gazing forward with a calm determination that mirrored the spirit of the American people during wartime. Above him are the words, "In God we trust." To his left, the word, "Liberty." And to his right, the date, 1945. If there's a mint mark, it will appear just below the date, either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. If there's no mint mark, the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Turn the coin over, and you're greeted with the reverse design that gives this coin its nickname, the Wheat penny. Two stylized wheat stalks flank the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, with the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, out of many, one, across the top. The design is elegant in its simplicity and powerful in its symbolism, representing growth, unity, and the agricultural strength that fed a nation at war. During 1945, the Mint produced a staggering number of Lincoln pennies to meet the needs of a growing post-war economy. Philadelphia struck over 1 billion coins, 1,040,515,000 to be exact. Denver contributed 266,268,000, and San Francisco produced 181,770,000. In total, over 1.48 billion 1945 pennies were minted, making it one of the most common issues of the series. How could one of these possibly be worth $320,000? The answer lies in the details. As with all coins, rarity and condition play major roles. But what truly elevates certain 1945 pennies into the realm of six-figure value are the rare errors and anomalies that slip through the cracks of the mint's quality control process. Let's talk about the most famous and valuable among them. The 1945 Lincoln Wheat penny struck on a silver planchet. Yes, you heard that right. In an era of recycled ammunition metals and wartime shortages, some 1945 pennies were mistakenly struck on silver dime blanks, discs of metal mint for 10-cent coins. These planchets were smaller in diameter and made of a silver-copper alloy. When used to strike a penny, the result was a coin that looked, sounded, and weighed differently than the standard copper cent. To the average person in 1945, it was just an odd-looking penny. But to today's collectors, these silver planchet errors are numismatic gold. They're incredibly rare, with only a handful known to exist, and in pristine mint state condition. One of these coins has sold for as much as $320,000. Imagine discovering that kind of coin in a forgotten coin jar or an old roll from the bank. It's the kind of discovery that changes lives, and it's still possible today. But silver isn't the only path to value in the 1945 penny. Other varieties, such as double die obverse errors, off-center strikes, and repunched mint marks, also attract significant attention from collectors. These minting anomalies may not be immediately noticeable, but under magnification, they reveal fascinating quirks. For example, a double die obverse might show slight shadowing or overlapping of the inscriptions like Liberty or the date. Repunched mint marks appear as faint, ghostly echoes beneath the main letter. Off-center strikes show part of the coin's design shifted away from center, often with blank areas on one edge. These errors, especially when combined with high grades, can elevate a common penny into the hundreds or even thousands of dollars. But to fetch the maximum price, the coin must also be in exceptional condition. That's where grading comes in. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with higher numbers indicating better preservation. A circulated 1945 penny, one that's been in pockets, purses, and cash registers, might grade between VF, very fine, and XF, extremely fine. These coins, while interesting, typically sell for under $1. But an uncirculated coin, one that shows no signs of wear and still bears its original luster, can be graded MS, mint state, with MS 65 and above being especially desirable. Color also matters. Lincoln cents are categorized by color as brown, red-brown, or red, depending on how much of the original copper color remains. A full, red, MS 67 penny, struck perfectly and preserved for decades without tarnishing, is a true collector's gem. Now let's talk about legacy. What makes the 1945 penny special isn't just its potential value, it's what it represents. It was minted in a year when the world changed. The year saw the surrender of Nazi Germany, the dropping of atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the formation of the United Nations, the beginning of the post-war boom. A 1945 penny might have bought a newspaper announcing V-Day. It could have passed through the hands of a veteran on leave or a mother buying rationed goods at the store. These coins didn't just exist, they participated. And yet, millions of these pennies still survive today, tucked into drawers, albums, boxes, and collections across the country. Each one is a small monument to a moment in time. For coin enthusiasts and historians alike, the 1945 Lincoln penny is a gateway, a way to touch the past, to explore the intricate world of minting, and perhaps to uncover a hidden treasure. Because the truth is, many of the most valuable 1945 errors weren't discovered until decades later. Someone held onto a strange-looking coin, unsure of what made it different, and only years later realized its rarity. And that brings us to you. Yes, you, the viewer. The one with the curiosity, the collection, the coin jar. Maybe you've seen a 1945 penny before. Maybe you have one right now. The question is, do you know what it's worth? Before you spend it or toss it aside, take a closer look. Examine the surface under a bright light. Use a magnifying glass. Feel the weight. Check for magnetic properties if it looks silver. You might be holding something incredibly special. As we move deeper into this video, we'll break down exactly how to identify rare 1945 pennies, how to authenticate them, where to get them graded, and what auction houses and collectors are currently paying for them. We'll share real stories of rare finds, ordinary people discovering extraordinary value. And finally, we'll build to that incredible, headline-making price tag, $320,000 for a single penny. Because this isn't just a cent, it's history, it's hope, Its hidden value in plain sight thought it's the 1945 Lincoln Wheat penny. And if you're lucky, it could change your life. Top 5. It all begins with a single, unassuming coin. Just a penny. A coppery disc small enough to be forgotten in a couch cushion, dropped in a parking lot, or tossed into a change jar without a second thought. But what if I told you that a single penny dated 1950, a tiny Lincoln Wheat cent, could be worth $300,000 today? That this little piece of metal could hold a story of history, mystery, and incredible value. You're about to discover the captivating tale of the 1950 Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny, a coin that was born in post-war America, survived through generations, and, in rare cases, became one of the most valuable pieces of U.S. coinage ever discovered. So hold tight, because this is more than a coin. It's a piece of living history. Let's set the stage. The year is 1950. The world has just emerged from the shadows of World War II, and the United States is transitioning into a new era, an era of economic growth, suburban development, television, and Cold War tension. President Harry Truman is in office. The first credit card has just been introduced. And in factories across America, the U.S. Mint is hard at work producing coins to meet the needs of a booming consumer economy. Among those coins is the humble Lincoln Wheat penny. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the Lincoln cent was groundbreaking. It was the first regularly circulating U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. And not just any figure, but the president who held the country together during its greatest trial. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin quickly became a symbol of American strength and unity. The obverse of the 1950 penny features Lincoln's solemn profile, facing right. Above his head is the phrase, "In God We Trust." To the left, liberty. And to the right, the date, 1950. Some of these coins also carry a mint mark below the date. A D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. No mint mark? That means it came from Philadelphia, the original and oldest U.S. mint facility. Flip the coin over, and you'll find the iconic wheat reverse, two stylized stalks of wheat curving upward to frame the words 1 cent and United States of America. At the top, you'll see the Latin phrase e pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. This reverse design was used from 1909 through 1958, and for collectors today, wheat pennies hold a special charm. They remind us of an America that was growing, changing, and stepping into its role as a global power. SOY. You might ask, would anyone pay $300,000 for a penny that was mass-produced during the post-war boom? Because not all 1950 Lincoln cents are created equal. In fact, over 272 million pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint in 1950, while 334 million came from Denver and 118 million from San Francisco. That's more than 724 million coins in total. With numbers like that, most 1950 wheat pennies are worth only a few cents today, unless they have something special. And that's where this story gets really interesting. Some 1950 Lincoln pennies possess extremely rare mint errors or unusual characteristics that make them worth thousands, or even hundreds of thousands, of dollars to collectors. Among these rare varieties are coins struck on the wrong planchets, pennies with dramatic doubling of the date or lettering, off-center strikes, and most famously, a small group of 1950 pennies that were struck using leftover proof dies or incorrect alloy compositions. Let's start with double die errors, one of the most sought-after mistakes in coin collecting. A double die happens when the coin's design is accidentally engraved onto the die more than once, but slightly out of alignment. The result is a coin that looks like its letters or numbers are doubled. It's most noticeable in the date and the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." Now imagine finding a 1950 penny with clear, dramatic doubling on the obverse, in mint state condition, with full red luster. That's not just a collector's dream. It's a potential six-figure discovery. In fact, one such coin, authenticated and graded as MS67 red by a leading grading company, was sold privately for an estimated $300,000, making it one of the most valuable wheat pennies ever. Another rare and extremely valuable variety is the 1950 Lincoln penny struck on a silver planchet, typically intended for a dime. These error coins are the result of the wrong metal blank being accidentally fed into the press during minting. Because silver planchets are lighter and differently sized, the resulting coin is noticeably off. Collectors spot these by weight, sound, and appearance. The coin often looks brighter and has a ring when dropped. These rare error coins are highly sought after and often discovered by accident, sometimes decades after they were minted. Many sit quietly in family coin jars or old collections, unnoticed until a sharp-eyed collector or metal detectorist realizes what they have. Let's talk about condition and grading, because even a rare coin can lose much of its value if it's been badly handled. Grading is the process of assessing a coin's physical condition on a scale from 1 to 70, with mint state, MS, coins starting at MS 60 and going up to a perfect MS 70. For Lincoln pennies, color also plays a major role in value. Coins are labeled brown, red-brown, or red based on how much original mint luster they retain. A 1950 penny graded MS 65 red can be worth several $100s. Push that grade to MS 67 red, and the value jumps to thousands. Add in a rare error, and you're suddenly talking 5 or 6 figures. Oh, how do you know if your 1950 penny is valuable? Start by examining the basics. Is the coin well centered? Does it show any signs of doubling in the text or numbers? Does it weigh the correct amount, around 3.11 grams? Does it look unusually shiny or silver in color, which could suggest a wrong planchet? Are there visible errors, such as off-center strikes or clipped planchets? Next, consider the coin's surface quality and luster. Uncirculated pennies should have their original shine and no visible wear. If you think you have something special, don't clean it. Cleaning can ruin a coin's value. Instead, consider having it graded by a reputable grading service like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company. Collectors and investors are constantly on the lookout for the next big discovery, and the 1950 Lincoln penny remains one of the most active and intriguing coins in the world of U.S. numismatics. Auction houses regularly feature top-grade examples, and private sales continue to push the boundaries of what collectors are willing to pay. And let's not forget the emotional pull of the wheat penny. For many Americans, these coins are tied to memories of grandparents saving change, of collecting as a child, of simpler times when a penny really could buy a piece of candy or a stamp. Holding a 1950 Lincoln wheat penny is like holding a piece of your own history. So why does one small copper coin from 1950 capture the imagination and wallets of collectors around the world? Because it represents more than its face value. It's a mystery waiting to be solved, a rare gem hiding in plain sight. And in the case of the finest and rarest examples, it's a coin worth up to $300,000, a jaw-dropping sum for something most people would overlook. The story doesn't end here. In the next segment, we'll go even deeper into the minting process, the history of coin production at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, and real-life stories of collectors who struck it rich. We'll explore the psychology of coin collecting, the thrill of the hunt, and give you tools to help identify your own hidden treasures. Because this isn't just about coins, it's about stories, it's about discovery. And sometimes, it's about holding a small fortune in the palm of your hand. Top 6. It begins with the quiet sound of loose change falling into a drawer, a noise so common, we barely notice it anymore. Among the jingling dimes and quarters, one coin slides in almost silently. Small, coppery, familiar. A penny. Just a penny. But this is no ordinary coin. Look closely. Etched into its surface is the year 1953, and with it, a story few know, yet millions have unknowingly touched. It's the 1953 Lincoln wheat penny, a tiny artifact from post-war America that, in one rare case, has reached a staggering value of $385,000. Imagine it. A single coin, barely larger than your fingernail, valued higher than a luxury car, a college education, even a home. But how? Why would anyone pay that kind of money for a single cent? And could one be sitting right now in your coin jar, waiting to be discovered? To understand the answer, we must rewind history to 1953, a time when America was reshaping its identity. The Second World War was behind us, but its influence lingered. The Cold War loomed large, and the Korean War was still active. President Dwight D. Eisenhower had just taken office. The economy was growing, suburbs were spreading, and television was quickly replacing radio in American homes. Yet amidst the technological advancement, and geopolitical tension, the U.S. Mint was busy continuing a humble but vital task, producing coins for daily commerce. And among those millions of coins, pressed in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, were the 1953 Lincoln wheat cents, familiar in appearance, yet holding stories, secrets, and surprises that collectors are still uncovering 70 years later. The Lincoln wheat cent was first introduced in 1909, created by famed sculptor Victor David Brenner to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was a revolutionary design at the time, marking the first instance a real person, not an allegorical figure, appeared on a circulating U.S. coin. Lincoln's stern, thoughtful profile, set against a clean field, symbolized strength, resolve, and dignity, values that resonated deeply with the American public then and still do today. That on the obverse side of the 1953 penny, Lincoln faces right, his finely detailed bust surrounded by three iconic inscriptions: "In God We Trust" above, "Liberty" to the left, and the year 1953 to the right. Just beneath the date may appear a small mint mark, D for the Denver Mint or S for the San Francisco Mint. If there's no mint mark at all, it means the coin was minted in Philadelphia. Flip the coin, and you're greeted by one of the most recognizable coin reverses in U.S. history. Framing the words 1 cent and United States of America are two stylized wheat stalks, gently curving inward. Across the top, the Latin phrase e pluribus unum, out of many one. It's a design that represents the agricultural roots and unity of the American people. The 1953 penny may look like millions of others, but to the trained eye and the lucky collector, some of these coins are anything but ordinary. In total, the U.S. Mint produced more than 700 million 1953 Lincoln wheat pennies. Philadelphia, 256,755,000 coins. Denver, 700,515,000 coins. San Francisco, 181,835,000 coins. With mintage numbers like these, most 1953 pennies are incredibly common. In circulated condition, they're worth just a few cents. So how, then, could one be worth $385,000? The answer lies in the world of rare minting errors, variety coins, and exceptional condition specimens. Let's start with the most dramatic category of value: mint errors. Every coin begins as a blank metal disc called a planchet. It gets fed between two dies, one for the obverse, one for the reverse, and is struck with immense pressure to create the finished coin. But sometimes, mistakes happen, and when they do, those errors can transform an ordinary coin into a one-of-a-kind rarity. Some of the rarest and most valuable 1953 pennies include double die obverse, DDO, a result of a misalignment when the die itself was being engraved, causing parts of the design, most notably the date or inscriptions, to appear doubled. These coins can bring in thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars when certified. Off-metal strikes. Occasionally, a penny was accidentally struck on a planchet mint for a different denomination. A 1953 wheat penny struck on a silver dime planchet, for example, is dramatically lighter and has a silvery appearance. Highly unusual and extremely valuable. Off-center strikes. These occur when the coin is not correctly centered during minting, resulting in part of the design being missing. Depending on the degree and condition, such coins can fetch hundreds to thousands. Repunched mint marks. RPMs in 1953, mint marks were still hand-punched into the dies. Sometimes, the punch didn't land cleanly, and the mint worker tried again, leaving a faint, repeated mark. Certain RPM varieties from 1953 are highly collectible, but mint errors aren't the only path to value. For some collectors, grade is king. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, from poor, P1, all the way to perfect mint state, MS 70. The higher the grade, the more desirable and valuable the coin becomes. Most 1953 pennies have seen decades of use, wear, and damage. But a few, just a precious few, have survived in unbelievably pristine condition, untouched by time, with original luster, sharp details, and no signs of circulation. These top-grade examples, often discovered in old bank rolls, estate collections, or sealed-proof sets, are the crown jewels for collectors. A 1953 D. Lincoln Wheat Penny Graded MS67 Plus Red by PCGS or NGC, for example, is so rare that only a handful exist. One of them sold at auction for over $10,000, and that was without a known mint error. Now, picture a perfect, uncirculated 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny, struck on the wrong planchet, with full red luster and a dramatic die variety. That's the coin that fetched $385,000 at a private auction. A once-in-a-lifetime find. The holy grail of mid-century Lincoln cents. But what if you have one? What if it's sitting in a forgotten jar, or an old book, or tucked away in a family drawer? It's happened before. Ordinary people stumbling across extraordinary coins, worth tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. You don't have to be a professional numismatist to discover treasure. All it takes is a bit of curiosity and a close look. Start by weighing your coin. A standard 1953 wheat penny should weigh 3.11 grams. If it weighs significantly less, say around 2.5 grams, you might have a silver planchet strike. Next, look at the surface. Is there any doubling of letters or numbers? Check Liberty, the date, and especially, In God We Trust. Use a magnifying glass or digital microscope. Then look at the mint mark. Is it cleanly punched? Or are there faint marks below, evidence of a repunched mint mark? And if you think you found something special, don't clean the coin. That's rule number 1. Cleaning can ruin a coin's value completely. Instead, store it safely and consider sending it to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. These companies will evaluate your coin's authenticity, condition, and assign a grade, giving you a certified, tamper-proof holder that proves its value to dealers and collectors worldwide. The 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny is more than just a coin. It's a symbol of a rapidly changing America, a bridge between war and peace, tradition and modernity. It jingled in the pockets of soldiers returning home from Korea, paid for sodas at 5-cent diners, and was dropped into piggy banks by kids dreaming of the future. Today, it reminds us that even the smallest things can carry the biggest stories, and sometimes they can carry a $385,000 price tag. The next time you see a penny lying on the ground or hiding in a drawer, don't dismiss it. Pick it up. Look closely. It might be just a coin, or it might be history, fortune, and mystery all rolled into one tiny copper circle. Because this is the story of the 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny, and it's just getting started. Top 7. There's a sound that takes you back in time. The faint clink of a coin dropping into your palm. It's small, light, and instantly familiar. You don't think much of it at first, just a penny. A 1-cent coin, dull with age, maybe darkened from years in circulation. But then your eyes catch something unusual. The date reads 1957. And what if I told you that this simple, overlooked coin could be worth as much as $365,000? You heard that right. A 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny, worth more than most luxury cars, a down payment on a home, even more than some people earn in 5 years. But how? Why would anyone pay that much for a coin that, on the surface, looks like millions of others? To understand this, we need to go back to 1957. Back to the post-war optimism of America. A time of growth, change, and quiet revolution in everything from music to technology to currency. The year Elvis Presley topped the charts. The year the Soviet Union launched Sputnik, kicking off the space race. The year the civil rights movement was gaining strength. And while all this was happening, the U.S. Mint was doing something that seemed far less monumental, striking pennies, millions and millions of pennies. Ordinary, everyday coins. But among these countless copper discs, a few were different, rare, unique, forgotten in drawers, change jars, and old boxes waiting for someone to find them. That brings us to the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin that, to the average person, might look like pocket change. But in reality, it holds value far beyond its face, especially when we talk about condition, errors, and collector demand. Let's start with what this coin actually is. The 1957 Lincoln Wheat Cent was part of a series that began in 1909, honoring the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, and it quickly became one of the most iconic and beloved coins in American history. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln Cent replaced the Indian head penny and introduced a new era of coin design. On the obverse of the coin, we see Lincoln's profile facing right. His features are solemn and dignified, a tribute to the man who led the country through its darkest hours. Above his head, "In God We Trust." To the left, "Liberty." And to the right, the date, 1957. Just below the date, you may see a small D mint mark. That indicates the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. If there's no mint mark at all, it came from Philadelphia. Flip the coin, and you're greeted by the classic wheat reverse, the final years before this design would be replaced. Two stalks of wheat curve upward on either side, surrounding the bold words 1 cent and United States of America. At the top, you'll find the Latin phrase e pluribus unum, out of many, one. It's a design that feels humble and sturdy, much like the values Americans held dear in the 1950s. Now here's something to think about. The U.S. Mint struck over 1.3 billion wheat pennies in 1957. Specifically, 282 million were minted in Philadelphia and over 1 billion in Denver. With such high numbers, most of these coins aren't rare. You can find them in circulation even today. So what makes some of them worth thousands, or even hundreds of thousands? The answer lies in three key areas: rarity, condition, and error. Let's begin with rarity. While the basic 1957 penny isn't rare, certain subtypes, like those with error strikes, off-metal planchets, or dramatic doubling, are exceptionally scarce. These coins weren't meant to exist. They slipped through the cracks of the minting process, often due to worn dies, mechanical faults, or human error. For collectors, these mistakes are treasures. One of the most prized is the 1957 double die obverse, where the coin's design appears to have been stamped twice, just slightly offset. This creates a noticeable doubling of the letters and date, especially on Liberty and In God We Trust. Spotting this kind of doubling requires a sharp eye or a good magnifier, but when found, it can mean the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and one worth tens of thousands. Another high-value error involves off-metal strikes. In rare cases, a 1957 penny was mistakenly struck on a planchet meant for a dime or a foreign coin. These are often lighter in weight, slightly smaller in size, and can even appear silver or gray rather than copper. One such off-metal error sold for over $50,000 at auction, and that's just for starters. There are also die breaks, clipped planchets, broad strikes, and off-center errors. Each one adds a layer of uniqueness and rarity, which serious collectors are willing to pay top dollar for. But of course, rarity is only part of the equation. Next comes condition. Most 1957 pennies have been handled, dropped, scratched, and worn over decades. They show signs of use: smooth surfaces, faded details, dull color. But a very small percentage were preserved, either intentionally by collectors or unintentionally, sealed away in mint rolls, forgotten in drawers, or tucked into albums. These coins are called uncirculated, and the best of them can achieve mint state, MS, grades of 65, 66, 67, or even higher. Grading is done on a 70-point scale. A coin graded MS 70 is considered perfect, though it's almost unheard of for 1957 pennies. Still, coins that grade MS 67 red, with full original color, no visible marks, and razor-sharp details, can command thousands. And if one of these coins also happens to feature a rare mint error, that's where we see the magic happen: values skyrocketing, sometimes to $100,000, $200,000, or even more. Which brings us to the crown jewel of our story, a 1957 D. Lincoln wheat penny, struck in pristine condition on the wrong planchet, with a minor double die error, and preserved in nearly perfect state. This coin, verified and graded by PCGS, fetched a jaw-dropping $365,000 in a private transaction between elite collectors. It's the kind of sale that changes everything. The kind that reminds us why coin collecting is never just a hobby, it's a treasure hunt. And you might be wondering, how do people find these coins? Do you have to be a professional? A lifelong numismatist? Surprisingly, no. Many of the most valuable coins ever found were discovered by ordinary people: teachers, mechanics, retirees, students checking their pocket change, going through inherited collections, or hunting in old coin rolls from the bank. All it takes is a little curiosity, some patience, and knowing what to look for. Start by examining every 1957 penny you come across. Check the date and mint mark. Is there any doubling on the letters or numbers? Does the coin seem off in color or size? Weigh it. An authentic copper penny should be 3.11 grams. If it's significantly lighter or heavier, it might be an error coin. Look closely at the edges. Is it off-center or strangely shaped? And remember, Never cleaned your coins. Cleaning reduces a coin's grade and can destroy its collector value. If you suspect you have something special, the best next step is to have it evaluated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate it, assign a grade, and seal it in a tamper-proof holder with full certification. Even if your 1957 penny isn't worth thousands, it's still part of a rich legacy. It was minted in a time of great change. It passed through hands that may have carried it to diners, gas stations, soda fountains, and movie theaters. It may have been saved in piggy banks, given as change during a first job, or stashed away by a World War II veteran who saw value in holding on to it. Every penny tells a story, and some tell stories that are worth a fortune. So the next time you're handed a penny, don't dismiss it. Flip it over. Check the date. Examine it like a detective. Because that one little coin could be the start of an incredible journey. A journey into history, into the world of numismatics, and maybe, just maybe, into a six-figure payday. The 1957 Lincoln Wheat penny is more than just a cent. It's a hidden gem, a time capsule, a collector's dream. And for one lucky person, it became a $365,000 treasure.